Each morning, real RSI setups are broken down with entry strategies and the technical reasoning behind every trade. This is RSI Trade of the Day with Verified Investing.
Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. I want to say thank you for joining me Friday, November 7th, 2025. This year is going by extremely fast, and the markets are being extremely volatile, which is really nice to start seeing. We're getting some RSI that is extremely beaten up. I'm going to go over FI. I haven't seen RSI this low in a really long time. So thank you guys. I think one of the members in here commented FI yesterday. I wanted to make sure I dove into that today. Datadog is another stock that is actually ripping to the upside. It is pulling back in the pre-market. I still anticipate it going up a little bit higher. So I got a key technical level for you guys to trade this morning. And then I want to go over a couple different setups that we had yesterday that played out absolutely beautiful. I gave you two specific ones, and that's on SanDisk and LITE. I actually took both of those trades in the live day trading room. LITE has actually got a nice topping tail that I want to go over with you as well. Let's go ahead and dive into the charts. The first one I'm going to go over is SanDisk and show you what I'm seeing. SanDisk, our entry price was a short above $225. It didn't look like we were going to get there initially as the market opened up here at $212. And then we had this nice surge to the upside, got right at above $225. Look at this sell-off. It got down to $207. So had you taken this trade like I did, you could have taken as much as 8%. I actually did a trailing. I didn't do a trailing stop. I was looking for $3, hoping to re-enter it again. After I exited that trade, it just continued to plummet to the downside. Putting a trailing stop is sometimes that I do on occasion. This one I didn't. I just took about $1,500 and I called it a day on that trade. Another stock that I'm looking at, actually, this one has a topping tail. It did have earnings yesterday. This is a little bit more of a wild card, but this has a topping tail as well, along with LITE. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that in a second. The other stock I was going to go over is RGTI. This head and shoulders pattern, again, another member had mentioned a potential head and shoulders pattern on RGTI. And I drew this trend line in here. Look at it. It broke, retraces scene of the crime, and now it's continuing a little bit lower, now trading at $32.50. One thing that I want you to notice, this is now starting to change a little bit of market sentiment, meaning that the RSI never started heading back up to the 70, creating more of a bullish momentum. Now we're starting to head a little bit underneath the 50, which means that more of the bears are stepping in. Doesn't mean it's going to hit the 30. However, it does mean that there are a lot more bears involved than there are bulls pushing the price down. So your next level is going to be a pierce of $25. You're going to get a pierce of 30 for a bounce just because of this gap fill. And then 1107 is where Rigetti can actually go. Now let's go ahead and take a look at LITE. LITE is a lighter stock, has less volume, and as a smaller market cap. What that means is levels can pierce, and this one pierced significantly. I had a $250 pierce, and it actually went up to $258. I actually had to add to my position on LITE before taking close to a $3,000 winner on this trade, or $2,200. Here's the chart of RGTI. I've actually went ahead and annotated some of the different levels and criteria that I'm looking for. So this is a topping tail. Again, I did short it above 250 and it got up to 258. Now it's trading at $232. Okay, topping tails. What are we looking for in a topping tail? First off, is it at the top of the charts? In this case, LITE is at the high end of the charts. It's actually at all-time highs, which makes this sell candle a pretty significant sell candle. Now, is the wick greater than 50%? So what we need is the start of the body to be in the lower 50%. And as you can see, the wick is greater than 50% of the entire candle. And so this checks that box as well. Now, we also need a close in the lower 25%. Had this been a green bar candle, the close would have been 243 In this case, it's a red bar candle. So the close was at 239.48. So this also is checks that box. So as pro traders, what do we do when we get a topping tail? Do we automatically short this thinking this is now a reversal signal? No. What we do is we wait for a Fibonacci retracement. We play the 50% Fibonacci retracement. So how do we go ahead and target that? Well, we're going to take this fib extension or this Fibonacci tool. We're going to take the high end and then the low end. What we do is we actually wait for a 50% retrace. This would be $247.67 as a 50% retracement. And the reason we want to wait for a 50% retracement and risk missing potential more downside is to minimize our risk. On a daily closing basis, on a daily topping tail, our close is going to be any close above $258.35. This is just in case the buyers do step in and push this above this double top area. Closing out could push this stock higher, which is why we have our stop out like that. All right, LMND is another stock that we were looking at. I had mentioned that I was thinking that this is possibly going to be the top. And if it does pierce this double top area on a 15-minute closing basis to stop out of the trade, if you would have gotten into the LMND, you could have taken a nice ride to the downside without even risking a stop out. It did get above there, but it never stopped out on a 15-minute closing basis. And here was that level at $79.54. So what I was looking at on LMND is this price action goes back to 2021 in November. This is going to be a significant resistance level. And look at what happened to the RSI. The RSI got above the 70 on the RSI after this extension move, which means that there's a lot of euphoria in here. When profit takers come in, they're going to come in droves, and that's what happened and drove the price of LMND down. Now, let's get into Datadog. Datadog had a nice push to the upside yesterday. The daily the intraday RSI on the 1 minute looked as if this price action was going to head a little bit higher. I do have a potential entry price around $195.40 if it can get back up there based on what happened yesterday in the RSI. The buyers were just continuing to push this thing all the way up. Never got up to double top, but it got really close. So it could make one more push. However, I'm going to start a trade at $195.40. Let me show you what I'm seeing. This is the first shortable level, 195.40 or above that level. And the reason is, look at what happened to the intraday RSI. You had the initial pop on Datadog, a little bit of a sell-off, a couple different dips, and then the sideways consolidation throughout the morning and then afternoon. As soon as it hit 2 o'clock, the buyers came back in, drove the price up, and consolidated sideways. So on a technical basis, it should go up to at least $195. There's going to be a significant amount of sellers sitting at that level, waiting to unload their shares. The RSI is still more of a bullish RSI unless we can take out this low pivot. If we get to $184 and start breaking that level, then it's the bears are going to set in and take control and push this price down. However, in the morning session, I'm really anticipating a move up to $195. Now let's go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, as you can see, going back to November of 2021, double top at $199.68 would be that secondary short level, or it would be your add level if you were in this trade. A couple ways you can do this. You can either stop out on the first entry level at $195 on a 15-minute closing basis and then wait for that secondary level. Or if you wanted to go up to a dollar cost average into this, what I would do is dollar cost average every $2 higher and then risk missing that double top. So getting in right before that double top, just in case there are too many sellers who are in that trade looking to exit as soon as it gets close to that level. Another stock that I was looking at was OKLO. OKLO, as you can see, is starting to break down a little bit more now, trading lower than $100. So you've got this upswing trend line on OKLO back down to $89, and this would be a great opportunity. Nvidia is continuing to sell off as well. I do have this gap fill that filled. It looked like it got there yesterday, but it actually kissed that level. Now my level on Nvidia today is $182.80. Look what happened. You've got this extremely volatile stock, extremely good news. This is the darling of the markets. Now it's pierced the 50. As you can see, once the RSI pierces the 50, could float down a little bit more, but then usually the buyers step in and push this up. So this would be my entry for a day trade and a possible swing trade at $182.19. Now, the last one on the charts, FI. Like I was mentioning, I haven't seen RSI this low on any charts on a daily and or weekly time frame. So I'm going to go ahead and show you where some good potential levels are on FI. The first level that I have is actually currently right here at $60.80. And the reason I like the $60.80 level is look at all this price consolidation from the basically May 2017 all the way to October 2017. You had a lot of price consolidation. The secondary level that I have is 216 pivot high at $56.14. Look at where the RSI is. It's at 1431, and that's on the weekly time frame. Talk about a stock that's really beaten up. Fiserv is just getting hammered. Going to the daily time frame, look at where it's currently trading. Starting to put in a little bit of positive RSI divergence. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. What I'm looking for as far as positive RSI divergence is a little bit lower on the price action and then a little bit higher on the RSI. This indicates that some of the buyers are starting to step up and some of the sellers are starting to wane, meaning that this could potentially reverse trend and start going back to the upside. We have a lot of work to do on Fiserv. We're going to need to break the $76.82 level in order to get another push up. However, this would be my starting position for Fiserv. I know I've got a lot of questions on here. I will get to these. I will look at the questions and I will see if I can post a couple of these for you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for commenting. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. I know you guys could have other things to do. Please stay tuned. Gary Soloway is going to be going live in my trading game plan in less than 3 minutes. And if you guys are enjoying this, make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and sharing with your friends if you guys are getting anything out of this content. See you guys later. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys next time in the charts. Take care.